Derick Giwner along with Matt Rose here at DRF headquarters to bring you another scintillating edition of DRF Harness Spotlight, where we're going to look at the Matchmaker and Levy. We've hand-picked 2 races, one on each night. You see the first one we're going to look at, and that's race number 5 on Friday night. It's the Matchmaker 3rd division of this particular race. I think there's 4 or 5 on the card, Matt?
There are 5 divisions of the Matchmaker on Friday, 4 divisions of the Levy on Saturday.
Split into some nice owner-friendly 6 and 7 horse fields.
Yeah, you know what? The Levy on Saturday came up with nice full fields, but the Matchmaker got 5 divisions, a 6, a 7, a 7, a 7, and I don't know, a 6 or a 7.
Well, we're going to look at this race number 5, and what I find most interesting about it is you're getting some horses here like Celibate N, who won last week, and Medusa. They're going back at it again. They were in the same race. Annabeth was in that same race. We're going to take a look at that replay, and we also have a new shooter in LA Delight who scratched last week, and here's the Celibate replay.
Yeah, Celibate went off 2 to 5 from a very friendly spot from the rail. Was able to rate a comfortable pace after retaking. Did what he had to do to hold competition at bay. It wasn't a visually impressive race, but he did what he had to do to win, and certainly he's talented enough to repeat. Obviously, from an inside post in a short field, he may be controlling the action once again. But this is a pretty interesting race here with a whole bunch of contenders, and I'm sure you have somebody you like here.
She certainly, it seems like she's going to be the favorite in here coming off the victory. Medusa was very good, finishing just behind her. There's a lot of speed in here with Medusa on the outside, and also Wrangler Magic. We saw Keystone Velocity for the Lard Barn gun out from post 7 last week. Is there any reason to believe Wrangler Magic won't leave?
You know what? We've seen this horse leave before. We've seen this horse be competitive in high condition races at Yonkers last year. 2 qualifiers. I guess they elected to qualify a second time rather than enter in race 1 of the series. Put on the front end, and pretty easy winner. Who knows what to expect? I don't know. I don't know what she's going to bring to the table in the first start. Like you said, we saw Dan Dubé get aggressive with Keystone Velocity right off the bench. Does he get aggressive here with Wrangler Magic? It remains to be seen. It's not the worst spot in the world to take a shot off the gate with, that's for sure.
In the same boat as Wrangler Magic is kind of LA Delight, in that neither of them started in the first leg of the series. And we know that as you start, you get points in this series. So it's very important that you start, and it's very important that you do well. You know, and that kind of leads me in her direction as my top pick in here, only for the fact that I think we can get a little bit of value on this horse. I asked trainer Nancy Johansson, you know, what's the deal with the scratch sick line? She said the horse just wasn't 100%, you know, just a little bit off. And she said she trained a really fast mile on Monday, and she said she's not worried at all. She thinks she'll be ready to fire.
Well, the difference is, you said neither LA Delight or Wrangler Magic got points for entering last week. At least LA Delight was entered in scratch sick. I loved her last week. I thought her first start of the year from an outside post with Marcus Johansson driving was an excellent effort, just grinding uncovered from 7th. In a very solid effort. And I loved her coming into the race last week. She scratched sick. Now, you seem reasonably confident, after speaking to the trainer, that she's good to go. I'm going to assume that she's good to go.
She's reasonably confident. I just think there's good value here, you know. And
I agree, because people are going to be scared off from the scratch sick. They're going to see Celibate, 2 to 5 front end winner last week. Mocking Apart is going to take money from the rail. I'm going to stick with her. I loved her last week. I'm going to stick with her. Probably get a better price than we would have seen last week. And if she races back to that effort 2 back, where she was clearly ready to go, I think she'll be okay here.
It's a nice, interesting race. You only get 6 horses in here, so it's not a big field, but there's a lot of things that can happen here with the outside speed, and there should be some value if you stay off of Celibate, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the way to go here is to try to beat Celibate, who will probably, well, I don't think she'll be a heavy favorite, but she probably will be the favorite. And that might be the angle here. Try to beat her this week, because obviously she can win, but like you said, there might not be value there.
Race 5 on Friday, the Matchmaker. We're both going with number 3, LA Delight, and we're going to move to Saturday, race number 7, the George Morton Levy series here. This is the first division of, I believe, 4. And we got a nice 7-horse field here with some comeback winners, and Dr. J. Hanover's coming back off a win. Always at My Place is coming back off a win. Bit of a Legend also won in the first round. We're going to take a look at a replay here, and the replay we're going to look at is Always at My Place, sitting here on the outside, number 2, and wow, what a mile.
Yeah, he right off the bench off a couple qualifiers, good qualifiers at the Meadowlands, was ready for action, grinding uncovered, wearing down Keystone Velocity, which is not always the easiest thing in the world to do, and was able to edge away and dig in gamely. And I kind of overlooked him last week, but I'm not going to overlook him this week, that's for sure. You got 5-1 last week. You know what? There's other horses here that are going to take money. So you know what? If you like Always at My Place to come right back, you might be getting a halfway decent price again.
Dr. J. Hanover is probably the favorite sitting here from the rail, I would think, but the mile wasn't overly impressive. He didn't do anything spectacular.
28 and 2, 58 and 1, left alone on the front end when nobody really left the gate in what was a 6-horse field. He was supposed to win. He did. He held off 2 good horses, and somewhere in L.A. and All Bets Off, who tracked from the pocket, was pretty disappointing. If he gets away with another 58 and 1/2, he's going to win again this week. But I don't see that happening. Obviously, he's a player with his speed, controlling speed from the rail. But he's going to have to work a lot harder tonight if he wants to repeat. Yeah,
no doubt about it. And listen, you also have the Keystone Velocity, who we already discussed. You know, the speed in here from the outside. He left last week from post 7. There's no reason to think he won't be leaving again from post 6. I mean, he's going to make the race interesting regardless.
You know what? He's going to be my top choice because I think there's going to be a little bit of value to be had there. He is listed at 8-1 on the morning line. People might be scared away from that tiring effort on the front end last week. I'm not 100% sure that Dubé is going to fire out of the gate like he did last week, where he really shook the horse up nicely at the start to get him interested, and he gunned out of there. He might not necessarily be leaving with the same purpose this week, but in a race where I'm not in love with the speed horses on the inside. We mentioned Dr. J. Hanover. Chumlier ran second to Mock It So last week, but what didn't overly impress me was All Out to hold on for second last week. Bit of a legend. I guess if you're on board last week at 9-1, which I'm still scratching my head that he.
Let's take a look at that Bit of a Legend winning last week. Who, you know, other than maybe Rock and Ron, who went 153 flat, Bit of a Legend who comes second over right here in his tip and might have been the most impressive.
I mean, he got towed into the race perfectly by that was Missile J that was grinding uncovered. Perfect trip, but you know what? He showed a lot of guts, kicking home and hitting a gear late and running that one over at the wire at almost 10-1. Which you know what? If you liked him last week at 10-1, you're probably going to get 10-1 on him this week because this is a tough spot with a good field and a lot of speed inside of him. Probably getting away last. You know what? If he wins, you're gonna get another good price on him.
There's probably a good 5 horses in this race that can win, at least on paper.
I agree.
You know, if things go their way. I ended up going with Always at My Place. I feel like, as you said, I think he was 5-1 last week. We can get 5-1 again this week, and he was very impressive. I mean, I wouldn't have thought he can come first over off the bench and win like that.
No, no. I mean, I kind of overlooked him last week. He did take money when I thought maybe he'd be ignored last week. 5-1. He was reasonably live on the board from that spot, but I didn't expect the effort that I saw.
We have to get a little bit of luck this week. You know, if I want Always My Place to win,
listen, he can leave the gate. He can leave the gate. We've seen that happen. We see he can grind. He's versatile. It's a good spot. It's a good post, mid-pack post to be versatile. But again, yeah, you might get in the 4-1, 5-1 range again, especially with Dr. J. Hanover taking money. Chum Lee will probably take some money, even though I'm not in love with him this week. But he should be right there close up. But
so you're going to Keystone Velocity?
I'm going Keystone Velocity. I see 8-1 on the morning line. He might be 5, 6, 7, 8-1 because I think people are going to be scared off from that race last week, and we know he can come from off the pace. So it wouldn't shock me if he was able. Maybe he rides Always at My Place's cover. Who knows?
Okay, so we're both looking at some value in here. Matt's going race 7 with number 6 Keystone Velocity. I'm going with the 4 Always at My Place. We got a Levy selection, a matchmaker selection. We'll see how the second leg shakes out and come back for leg 3 next week. Good luck.